Do you know the regulations associated with the operation of this drone? Do you know who's allowed to use it, where you're permitted to fly it, and what penalties might be associated with violating regulations or laws associated with this device? Recently, there was a National Transportation Safety Board decision, an NTSB decision, that decided that the FAA does have the authority to make decisions about what counts as a drone for regulatory purposes or what counts as an unmanned aircraft for regulatory purposes. And they said it's any device that's capable of flight, and they accepted that the definition was just as broad and sweeping as it sounded. What's fascinating about this claim of regulatory authority that the FAA has is that it's seemingly limitless. So the FAA is claiming that they have the right to regulate aircraft, control the operation of those aircraft from the heavens all the way down to a millimeter above a blade of grass. And this raises all kinds of questions about your rights in your property to do what you want 2 inches above the ground in your backyard. That's actually a pretty big change from decades of prior practice. For a long time, UAVs were not regulated, at least the small ones that everyone's fascinated with right now. And that's because the FAA exercised its discretion to not enforce rules against what were known as model aircraft operators. And the reason for that was that most model aircraft operators were flying at fields as part of a club, as part of what's known as a community-based organization. All of that changed in the last few years with basically the explosion of new technology that's easy to fly right out of the box. With the new registration mandate, there's actually now a statutory hook for enforcement. So previously, without the registration mandate, unmanned aircraft operators could fly without the fear of some government agent coming after them, so long as they were following the rules. Now with the registration requirement, there's statutory authority for federal, state, local, and tribal officials to stop anyone who's operating an unmanned aircraft and ask them to provide proof of their registration. Tied to that, that's the enforcement part, is the penalty part, which is fines of up to $25,000 for operating an aircraft without having registered it. Fines of up to $25,000 for fraudulently registering an aircraft, not to mention an entire swath of state-based rules that make reference back to the federal rules. And so there really are some big consequences now. Safety is important. We have to create rules for the safety case. We have to make sure that we're not reaching so far that we're stifling innovation or trampling on constitutional rights.